Houston, Texas, right? So we have a lot of agents here, especially Hmong agents. We have a lot of Vietnamese agents. We have a lot of folks that are Asian inside of the Twin Cities here that does real estate, but we just don't do it on his level, right? We wanted to bring my guy here all the way from Houston, Texas, who's gonna be talking specifically, right, about how to build wealth and how he built wealth. And if you listen, there's like, this guy's like, I think he's the only Asian person that I know of outside, I think one of the only two Asian people that I know of that owns a Ferrari, right? And I was like, man, that's so cool, because, you know, my goal when I grow up, right? When I grow up, I want to own a Ferrari, a red Ferrari too, right? Hui comes from Houston. He's a beast out there. As an agent, he's a beast just in general. I'll let him tell the rest because he's got a really cool story too. And so, without further ado, please give a round of applause for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny. The clicker, let me see, working. All right, hi everybody. My name is Nguyen, and I don't think I know anybody here except the table that I just talked to. And by the way, too, presentation is just amazing, right? I think me and him, we pretty much doing the same thing, but we never meet each other. In fact, my presentation is very, very similar to him. Just to show you guys the fact that wealth building it's not it's not rocket science. It's very common sense, right? I did it a very similar way to him, right? But it's all different. But we all have the same principle, which is the sixth rule of immutable rule of wealth that I'm gonna share with you today. And I kind of tailor that specifically to real estate agent, right? Because we have our license, right? So there's a huge advantage over for the people with no license. So for the next 40 minutes, I'm going to share with you my story, and especially I really want you to relate my story to you and how you can use the thing that that we discussed about to make your first $1 million. But by the way, I'm sure somebody in here already made the first $1 million, right? Yes, no? Okay. Well, if not, let's just dive in and see, and go for it, right? So who am I? I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm a real estate agent. I started full-time 2018 with eXp Realty. Never look back, just grind, I guess first-time home buyer, just take in all the client before you can figure out your niche, right? So really, really hustle on that part. Anybody here have a chance to meet Robert Kiyosaki? So I went to a cruise ship. He was on it. He was crankier than you think. Right? He's an old man. Everybody's around him asking for a picture. He managed to crack a smile for me, so that was good. Grant Cardone, on the other hand, he's super. Let me move away from my camera. Grant Cardone, on the other hand, he's a lot more friendlier and a lot easier to talk to. So I kind of follow Robert Kiyosaki for investment real estate, right? But when it comes to salesmanship, when it actually have to sell to people the right way, Grant Cardone is going to be kind of like my North Star, right? So I kind of learn from them. I focus on building a team at eXp as well. So my organization is up to 300 people now. We can touch about that in a little bit. I'm working on my public speaking. So I think last year I got on stage on video, and that was a pretty cool experience. Talking to 100 people. Trust me, if a guy with a computer science background can stand up and speak to 300 people, right? I mean, each and everybody here, can do it, right? I overcome my fear, and trust me, before this, right, I sit back and I code all day long, right? That's me. That's computer science, but I guess it doesn't pay enough. To talk a lot about flip, right? I completed my flip number 120 now, right? So I've been flipping my entire life. During COVID, we flipped like 4 or 5 homes a month. Now we kind of slow down to like 1 or 2, right? The market kind of slow, so you don't want to take risks and deploy capital too much. We talk a lot with, I'm sorry, what's your name? Yeah, we talk a lot about Airbnb, so we have a good number of portfolio in Houston that is running short-term rental, and right now, you know, the World Cup is just going crazy down there. Brazil is gonna play with Japan in Houston on Monday. Oh my God, it's super, super nuts. Oops, you guys can't see it in there, but as far as my portfolio, I'm up to 20 property right now, and I purchased my first commercial property yesterday, not last year. But yeah. So yeah, very similar to you know, just flipping house, you know, building and building wealth one house at a time, right? But rule number one, let's back it up a little bit because I coach so many people. Rule number one, you know, we cannot get into bad debt. If you have bad debt, right, you gotta go back and fix it. There's nothing that I can tell you right now that's gonna help you. It doesn't matter how much money you make. If you have bad debt, it's gonna eat it away from you. So some of the stuff that I'm gonna share with you today is gonna be super simple. Some of the stuff might be over your head. But these are the rules that I go by if you want to build an empire, right? You cannot have bad debt, right? It's gonna eat away your future. The Undercover Billionaire. Have anybody watched that show on Discovery?
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the first thing that the billionaire, they drop them into a city with $100? What is one of the first few things that they do once they know nobody and have no money? Do they go out and make $1 million right away? Right? They do not. They need to figure out a way to survive, a way to get food, and a way to get shelter. Right? So same thing with us. If we cannot get those basic, you know, necessities taken care of, it's gonna be very hard for us and for you and for me to make $1 million. So get out of debt, right? There's good debt and there's bad debt. Good debt makes you rich and bad debt makes you poor, right? So that is super, super classic from Robert, and I kind of follow that. Right? So yeah, sorry Dave Ramsey, but there's good debt and there's bad debt, right? I try to, you know, of course, you know, you should reward yourself, but you should try to avoid financing luxury items, you know, right? If you want it, if you can afford it, pay with cash, you know, never finance any luxury item because they drop in value, right? You don't want to put anything that drop in value, you don't want to finance them. I would say my first best hire is a transaction coordinator that helped me on the real estate side. My second best hire is a bookkeeper, right? She keeps me very honest with my book. Every single month, hey, wait, this is the money that you lose. This is the money that you make. I cannot lie to myself anymore. The number is right in front of me. So my second best hire, and it's really, really, you know, it's not expensive to have a bookkeeper, right? And I don't recommend anybody to do your own bookkeeping. Number one, I know that you're not going to do it. And number two, you know, you're going to do it incorrectly. So have somebody else to do it with you and have a really honest conversation with your number, right? Have a bookkeeper is going to keep you very honest with your business. Yeah. Why I love being a real estate agent? Because, you know, we have one of the lowest startup in capital business, right? You know, you don't buy any franchise, you don't spend any money to buy anything. You get like your license, you open an LLC, and you in business, right? So the Amazon model, right? Spend before you make any money. It doesn't really applicable to us. So start small, start lean, have a very low operating expense, so that way you can survive, right? The first you have to survive, and then you make money. So yeah, good debt versus bad debt, right? Oh, it's supposed to flow here, but anyway, mortgage on cash flow rental, right? That's a good debt. Mortgage on your homestead, that's a bad debt, right? Because taking money out of it. But if you can manage to house your homestead and turn it around, all of a sudden it becomes a good debt, right? High interest credit card loan is supposed to be a bad debt. But if you can manage to get some zero, you know, special credit card loan for your fix and flip, all of a sudden you can turn a credit card loan into a good debt, right? A diamond loan for your wife, good debt or bad debt, right? That's up to debate, right? A car loan for you to go, right, and run the Uber business, that's good debt, right? Because it put money in your pocket, right? Luxury car loan for showing off, that's probably a bad debt. But a car loan for the right car, a right classic car that go up in value, that could be a bad debt. That could be a good debt, right? So it depends, right? You can turn things around. Student loan, right? It could be good, it could be bad. My nephew just graduated with, I don't know, 60,000 times 4 in debt. I don't know how long he need to work to make that money back, right? So is it a good investment in college right now? I'm gonna leave it up to you to debate, right? So student loan, I don't know. It just seemed a lot to me. So yeah, loan for fix and flip, right? We talk about it, that's a good debt. Loan for cosmetic surgery, good debt or bad debt? I don't know, okay? It's gonna be up to you guys for debate. Max out your credit card to go see Tony Robbins. I hope he can change your life, but I know a friend, she maxed it all out, she date with Destiny multiple times, and she come back, she's happy and she's still broke, okay? So, good debt or bad debt, I gotta leave it up to you for you to decide. Some of them is very obvious, some of them is not too obvious, right? You think that you make money, you make investment in yourself, but if you really honestly look at, what has changed, right? There's nothing. So just keep an eye on it and be very, very honest. All right. So now that you get out of debt, rule number 2, right? We learn to save, right? Most of us here, we come from we have an Asian background, right? We learn to save, right? We don't over leverage. We save and we live on one income, right? It's just as basic as it is, guys, right? Saving is a foundation of financial security. I know a lot of guys out there is going to tell you to leverage the hell out of your bank account. My way, the safe way is just to save it up, right? You need money for something, save it up, right? Especially why do real estate agent, why do we need to save, right? Because number 1, your income is very inconsistent. You don't get $5,000, $10,000 deposit per month. Some month is up, some month is down, some month is slow, some month is fast, right? Saving, it allows you to reinvest you into your business, right? So now that you have extra income, right, you can invest it in marketing, you can invest it in lead generation, you can survive a market downturn, right? You have some dry powder to at least survive on, right? And when you see a deal, you can capitalize on it, right? You don't have to wait for your lender, you don't have to wait for anybody to give you money. You see a deal, you have the money, you put it in an offer, you can move on deals so fast, right? So you always have dry powder to capitalize on the deal, right? And of course, it's your backup fund, right? I call it the FU fund. So, and saving needs to be automatic, right? The willpower, I think, is overrated. For me, saving, you need to save without thinking about it, right? Build your own offshore bank account. If you have money coming in from your from your active income, automatically shift it, to some like local bank, to some bank that's very hard for you to get to, right? So the money coming in, and all of a sudden it automatically go out to your saving account. It automatically buy some stock. It automatically go buy some gold and silver coin, right? Put it on automation, so that way you don't get involved. You don't get your hand in your own cookie jar. So the less you see, the less you spend, right? It's just the old, rule about the toothpaste. The less you see in your bank account, the less you're gonna spend. So when your money come in, get it out, right? Put it somewhere. Now we're gonna look at it. That's a really good book, right? It's very old. If you want to take note, it's called The Automatic Millionaire. It just teaches you about the whole system of how to, on how to control your finance. So that way, you can build wealth without even you thinking about it. Sometimes, this is us. It's actually the person who prevent, the future you from investing. It's actually you. So sometimes you just need to be honest and get yourself out of the equation, right? But yeah, just some stuff. Out of your subscription every 3 months, right? We all try to buy stuff, buy a whole bunch of subscription and that. But yeah, out of your subscription every 3 months, negotiate bill, right? Use cash and debit if you can control your impulse buying. Again, use a bookkeeper, right? Set a saving goal. This is really important, right? Very basic stuff, right? Have a separate bank for personal and have a separate bank for business. Not only is asset protection, it's gonna separate you and again keep you very honest with your business, right? If you're gonna make money in your business or not. But yeah, whenever I want to do something, I keep asking myself, can I do it for free instead, right? If I exhaust my option to do it for free, and then I spend money, right? Very, very simple technique, but it's gonna keep you, on the right track. Leaving the wedge, so, the way I think of it, you have your income and here's your expense, right? I always try, to live in here, right? The wedge is my wealth, and as you're gonna try to keep expanding that. It doesn't help if I show you how to make $10 and then you go out and you spend $11. You still as broke as when you make $1. So think of it, as just this, this income you bring in, the more that you have in your wedge, the more it is, the more dollar that you have that you can invest, right? So while keeping up with the Joneses, no car, nothing fancy, at least for the first few years, right? Until you have enough, the ability to spend on it. So, and then, right, you get out of debt, you save money, and number 3, just like Chu say, you live for free. You have to figure out a way to live for free, right? Almost free, because housing is going to be your biggest expense, right? So you have to figure out a way to eliminate it, right? If not, you're going to keep paying for it. You're going to keep paying for property tax forever, right? Roommate, right? Moving with your parent. I have a friend, he actually divorced and then he ran out of money, he moved in back with his ex. That worked, right? He saved money. Co-living is really big in Austin right now. It's moving to Houston. I don't know what is a co-living market around here. I would love to talk with you guys about co-living, because co-living exists because our people try to save money, right? You can downsize, right? To talk about purchase duplex, triplex, and fourplex, or my favorite way is always house hacking, right? And single family house. Right? If you cannot get a duplex, triplex, or fourplex, because in Houston, they kind of in like a not so good area, right? But single family home, if you can figure out a way to hack it, and then you could live for free. So this is my first house hack, right? Purchased in 2012 for $80,000. $20,000 down. I save up that money, nothing special there. Mortgage is about $600, right? I live in a master with my girlfriend back then, now wife, right? We decided to Airbnb. Back then, nobody knew about Airbnb, right? I'm one of the first few guys who is the OG on Airbnb. We tried it out. We rented out bedroom for $50 a night, and it worked, right? People come, people stay, people pay me $50 a night, and I don't even know what they do, right? We average about $40 a month, and it paid for almost the mortgage, right? And all of a sudden, it's like, wow, right? I can almost live for free. So one Airbnb, one IPO, because we are one of the original OG, right? We got awarded with 13K worth of IPO stock. Not bad, right? Not bad for a startup. Now the house's AIV is $240,000, right? So that's a lot of equity built in there. And then, right, I saved some money. I move up to another house, right? And I don't want to pay for that house either. So second house hack. Purchased in 2015 for $150,000 plus $30,000 rehab, right? So that's $180,000. Refinance at $220,000, right? So if you know Burr, I got my money back, so there's zero in the deal, right? Back then mortgage is still cheap, $350, right? So 3% interest rate. What's so special about this house is that I got the bond in the back, right? No HOA outside the city. We can convert it into a living unit, right? An ADU, and that ADU is bringing in $1,400 a month. I live there for free, right? For 10 years. Can you imagine living at living for free for 10 years and how much money you can save, right? That's a lot of money that you can save up for all the investment opportunity. The ARV of the house is now $390, right? But yeah, touchdown hack, right? So you got some money, you got some commission. People keep telling me that house hack is like the thing of the past, right? You cannot really house hack any house anymore. You cannot really house hack a luxury home, right? I'm giving you this example to show you that even if you move into an upper neighborhood, you can still house hack. Your neighbor might be like, what the hell, but you don't care, right? So the third house hack, we move it in, I guess, an upper area, I would say, right? 2024, we got it for $600,000. Again, 20% down. Mortgage is expensive, plus the principal and interest, 6.5%, right? Is what we got it for. The reason we got the house is that, we spotted there's a bond on the back, right? And it's double the size of what we have. And we can make it look really, really luxury. So actually, as I'm speaking right now, my wife, we kind of flip. I handle everything, and my wife, she handle all the construction. So she's actually over there working with the contractor and the plumber. We are putting up the house. We're fixing up the house right now. So after that done, our projected income, hopefully it's going to bring in about $2,000 a month, right? Which is almost cover the mortgage. And you can stay there. It's your remote. So the other 900, maybe I go Uber, I find 900, and then you can cover the mortgage. So you can definitely still do house hacking. I truly believe that. I see 2 examples. I talk to so many people. House hacking is still alive and well. Right? You just need to make sure you don't violate the restriction. Right? I'm in Houston. I know the law really well. I know the area really well. You just have to figure out in your area, what is the law, what is the local regulation, and then figure out a way to make sure the people that can pay for you. So, rule number 4, right? Very simple. We have to max out your active income, right? In order to create passive income, right, you need active income coming in first. So if your job is selling, listing, flipping houses, get really, really good at it, right? Make a lot of money, right? You need good income to get good loan. If you don't have good income, the bank is not going to give you good loan, right? They need to see that income on the statement. So don't be afraid to pay income tax, right? Just make as much money as you can, especially when you're young, because trust me, I'm in this for almost 15, 20 years now. It takes a toll on your body, right? I'm very excited, you can make a lot of energy, you can work late in your 20s, but then, on your 30, and then when on your 40, you might be feeling it, right? So you just hustle all you can in your 20s, right? Make sure you make good money, right? For real estate agent, I would say I see a lot of agents, they go all over the place. Big, 3 lead gen model, right? Whatever is video on social media, whatever is open house, whatever is cold calling. Pick 3 things that you're really good at, that you don't mind doing, and you just have to focus on it, right? And your broker should have a really good training on lead generation, right? Get mentorship from producing agent, right? I mentor agent all the time in my organization. So look at who is good in your area, and then seek for mentorship, right? Some people will not share, some people will share. Look for them, look for the one that will share and will partner with you. Right? And again, figure out your niche and focus on it for lead gen, for real estate agent, right? A lot of my team in my organization, they only sell to Vietnamese people, right? They speak in Vietnamese, their video in YouTube in Vietnamese, they only focus on Vietnamese community. Whatever it is that you are doing, for me, example, I serve investor. Whatever it is that you're doing, I believe that you need to focus on a niche that is, not small enough, but also big enough. So that way, you can dominate that niche. If you serve everybody, you do investor, you do first-time home buyer, you do move-up buyer, you do move-down buyer, you're gonna be all over the place, and before you do it, you're gonna hate yourself as a real estate agent. And I see that over and over and over for the past 10 years. Whoever is the most successful agent, right? They really, really focus on the niche. Yeah. So like again, Grant Cardone and Tom Hopkins is really the 2 persons that I look up to when it comes to salesmanship. Right? And then rule number 5, right? After you get your active income up, right, you have to get into rental, right? Long-term rental and master adding value, right? There's no shortcut, right? Long-term rental is the foundation of wealth building. That single family house, whenever you make money or not, or a little bit of money from it, it's going to teach you so much, right? It's going to teach you how to work with a contractor. It's going to teach you how to work with a lender. It's just a foundation on everything that you build, and I'm not suggesting anybody to skip on it. The tenant is going to pay down your debt. If you are working at W2, you're going to have a tremendous tax advantage, right? If you want to speed things up, it's very easy. To show you, it's very easy to make $1 million in 30 years. If you want to speed things up, if you want to compress the time frame into 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, you have to learn how to do forces appreciation and adding value to the rehab to speed things up. Otherwise, it's going to take you 30 years to make $1 million. And trust me, 30 years is a long goddamn time to make $1 million. I want to make $1 million in the next 5 years, right? Not 30 years. So you have to learn how to compress the time frame by forcing appreciation, right? Otherwise, it's very, very, very long, right? There's no shortcut. Right? You have to learn how to work with contractor. There's just no way around it. Government housing opportunity in Houston, in my opinion, is actually very, very lucrative right now, right? Because they pay more than the market. And like I say, long-term rental is the foundation for mid-term rental, for short-term rental, for BRRRR, right? I don't recommend you to skip the step. Because we have an Airbnb frenzy, right? Your mom buy an Airbnb and then they jump in, they buy an Airbnb and they don't even know how to run a hospitality business, right? Because they skip the step. So yeah, again, back to the same house, right? So I move out. I put it on long-term rental for $1,500 on 2015. My mother-in-law moved in, right? And then, long story short, she moved back to Vietnam in 2022. She's left with a bunch of furniture, right? Bed, she buy good stuff like bed, chair, right? She like spend good money on furniture of the house. So instead of throwing them away or put them in storage, I put the house on midterm rental, right? So on midterm rental, all of a sudden, instead of receiving $1,500 for long term, midterm rental is paying me $2,400, right? And all of a sudden you have another niche, right? A midterm rental niche. Yeah. Same thing with this house, right? I move out to a different house. A family member move in, and he's paying me $1,300. Why? Because he's family member, and that's only how much he can afford. I cannot really kick him out. So the ARV, so all of a sudden you increase your income, and then and then the ARV of this house again is $390, right? So you have your short-term income on the backyard, and then you have your long-term income on the front house. So it's all in one property, right? It's easier to manage. Commercial is also considered long-term, right? I purchased this for $140, right? 20% down on the finance. My note is at 8% for $1,000. I actually messed this up. I failed to convert. I converted to co-living, and the city is not happy with me, right? They give me all kind of red tape, and long story short, I have to let the project go, right? So cost quite some money on it. Learned the lesson, and then there's another business owner that need the rent, and she is willing to rent it for $1,350 with $50 increment every year. And she's gonna purchase the building later on. So learn a lot lesson, make a lot of mistake, but in the end, it's the long-term rental that saved me, right? So back to the basic, no more co-living, and become a tax shelter, and I still be able to build up my equity in a small commercial building. So this is just one example of why we still need to stop kind of chasing the shiny object syndrome and focus on just the basic long-term rental. It's still going to be a core foundation of anybody business if you want to do work in real estate, right? And then rule number 5, you have to BRRRR, right? There's going to be no way around it now. It's a shortcut. If there's a shortcut to wealth creation, it's going to be the BRRRR, right? It's like printing money out of thin air, right? And when I try to do one, when I did one, I get addicted and I keep doing it again and again, right? Because when you create $1 million to real estate equity, right, and you refinance it out, you pay no income tax. When you and me make $1 million in commission, Uncle Sam is going to want a piece of it, right? A big piece of it. So just keep that in mind. When you create $1 million, you pay no income tax. When you earn $1 million, right, Uncle Sam is going to want a piece. So the goal is to BRRRR one house a year. If you hate it, if it takes a lot of time, you can stop doing it. But I can guarantee you that after you see the money, after you see the wealth that you created, you will want to find another project and another project, right? So back to this same house again, right? We haven't talked about the BRRRR aspect of it. I purchased this home, for $150 with 30K rehab, sold at $180,000. The appraisal value came in at $220, so I can refinance at $220, get my $180,000 out. So that's the key, right? If you do your number right, if the appraised value come back at what you expected, you get all of your money out. So essentially, you have zero money in the deal. You created $40,000 out thin air within 6 months, right? And that for me, when I look at that, it's just magic, right? Who else does this, right? Only in America, they give you this 30-year loan mortgage. Not in Canada, not in Asia. In the United States, they give you a 30-year fixed rate mortgage, right? So that's a gift. We should take advantage of it. So the mortgage, I pay $800 a month. Again, the main house bring in 13, the barn bring in 14. In 26 right now, right? The ARV is again is 330, and my mortgage got paid out to 150. So if you do the math, that's $250,000 created out thin air in 10 years, right? Not too bad, right? You're not doing anything, and this is just one house. Imagine if you do 2 house, 3 house, 4 house, 5 house, all of a sudden within 10 years, right? You already have your formula for $1 million. So, right? And then again, I get addicted, and then we can do it again. We go find again. So this house we purchased in 19 for $100,000, $90,000 rehab, and the appraised value is 270, right? So we went ahead and get the 220 out. I even get paid at closing, and my mortgage balance is $216,000. And then you can see the number again, $80,000 created out in there, right? By just doing the math. So that's the mortgage, right? We Airbnb the upstairs, we call it the attic, right? There's another tiny house on the back. We also put that in on Airbnb. So fast forward until now, the house is now pre-45 with the mortgage balance paid out to $180,000, right? So that's another $165,000 equity created, right? That I don't have to pay any tax. If I want to cash it out now, I can refinance and pull that equity out. So yeah, this is also a recent one, right? Again, people keep telling me that deal is hard to find, but every time I look on the MLS, every time I look at my wholesaler list, there's still deal out there to be made, right? 120, $100,000 rehab. I added a bedroom and a bath to increase the appraisal value. I haven't refinanced out this one yet because the rate is still a little high, so we still kind of, in the waiting period. But if everything's said and done, there should be another $90,000 free out, thin air, right? The home on Airbnb is bringing in $5,000 a month right now, not including, all the FIFA frenzy right now. So yeah, and then rule number 6, right? You burn, you save your money, you live on one income, you burn, and then for us real estate agent, right? I decided to join a brokerage. At least for me, when I put my investment mindset on, that brokerage, it has to have a component of equity and revenue share, right? Good agent, they look to be in business for a long time. When I look at the model, when I look at myself, right, I need a way to exit, right, before I even get in. Right? As an investor, we always look for exit strategy. So whenever I get into a business, I look for a way to get out first, right? How can I get out and still make money? Because my story I forgot to share earlier, right? I didn't quit my job as Schlumberger as an IT security engineer and then go do another job as a sales job, right? I need a way to get out, right? I needed an exit strategy. I need to get also pay on equity, right? Because on robopedicity, the risk get paid on equity, right? Not on money. So I look for a way to get paid on equity. And I needed the leverage income, right? Because I can leverage my mentorship, I can leverage my leadership. I need that leverage income to get out. Commission, I know it's going to make me look rich, but I know that equity and rev share is going to make me wealthy, and that's really what I'm after for, right? So all I can say is that do your homework, pick the right sponsor, co-sponsor, do the right thing, pick the right community that you belong in, and the rest will take care of itself. Right? This is not an income plan, right? But this is what exactly my sponsor tell me, before I join, right? I'm not telling you to join, right? And then recruit 300 people and make $10,000 a month, right? But when I talked to my sponsor, which is Jeff and Amanda, I told him, like, Jeff, if half of the stuff that you tell me is bullshit, I think I'm still gonna make the move, right? Because half of what you told me is actually enough. Like even 1/5 of what you told me is actually enough. I don't mind the $1,000 to $2,000 extra per month, right? And 10, 20, 30, it sounds too much for me, and I know you're bullshitting me. So I'm good, with whatever you say, just cut it in half. I'm good with that, right? And turn out he's not bullshitting me. It's real. The money is real. But yeah, I came for the money, right? I came for the money because of the rev share, because of the stock. But I stay for the people, right? So with Law, with Johnny, we build an amazing community here, right? At our brokerage, right? We do a lot of events. These are my people. I really, really like them. I really, really love on them. A lot of mentorship, a lot of partnership happening around, and I really stay for the people, right? I thought I'm gonna stay for the money, but I'm gonna stay for the people. But yeah, so that is it. If you want to sum it up, right, this is my formula to create your first $1 million in real estate. You need to get out of bad debt. You need to save and live on one income. You need to figure out a way to live for free. You need to max out your active income, whatever that is, right? You need to work. There's no way around that. And if you have your license, right, join a brokerage with equity and revenue share, and as a bonus, right, we need to be a student of the tax law, right? I study the tax law, right? Because the tax law, it tells me where to move my money. It tells me where the government want me to invest my money. So I become a student of the tax laws in there, and I think of government like your partner, right? They want you to move your money in a certain way, and they provide incentive for you to do that, right? All the depreciation, all the bonus depreciation, all the cost set, right? It's there for a reason. So be a student of the tax law. If you can do that, you will create $1 million with a lot of excess income, right, before you know it. So yeah, let's partner up. You can scan me from my cell phone. And thank you guys for letting me visit Minnesota for the first time. Question?
Do you do any tiny homes? You said that in our conversation here.
Yeah, actually a lot of my example, it's just tiny home. If you look at these.
Oh, the AUDs.
Yeah, so those are the tiny home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I really picked the land that is really big, that the house is kind of shifted to one side. You have enough parking, right? You have no HOA, your neighbor is not bothering you. You can put up a structure, and that structure is you make money in your backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So not like a village, but a lot of just houses with structure on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here in Minnesota, St. Paul recently allowed AUDs, right? And so if you live in St. Paul, there's a possibility that you can put together an AUD and do the same thing. So
St. Paul or Ramsey County? Just St. Paul?
as far as I know, it's just St. Paul. I'm not sure if it's the whole Ramsey County or not.
Yeah, just check your local law, and for me, I stay outside the city limit.
Yeah.
So you're a real estate investor and real estate agent, right? You're
Right.
getting two incomes. Which business are you more focused on?
I really like the words, the words symbiosis that two say. I would say my bread and butter is fix and flip. Let me see. Yeah. So I am my first client, right? So whenever I wake up and drink my cup of coffee, I find you for myself first and foremost, before everybody else. And all of a sudden, right, your friend get curious, right? People around you get curious, and organically they become your client. You don't need, if you become a real estate agent that focus on investing, you don't need a ton of people, right? All you need is a few people with money, and you make the money, and they're gonna keep coming back for you, right? So first and foremost, I am my client, right? I go find you for myself first. I have my all set up buy box, but then like all of a sudden, like you see this, oh, I don't do Section 8, but this Section 8, law is gonna do Section 8. I send that to law, and then I represent law in that section. So it's very symbiotic. Yeah, I would say the way I hit icon in EXP, half of it is my personal view, right? And then the other half is deal for all the people, for all the investors. And I don't need to advertise because I make them a lot of money. So they're gonna keep coming back, and they're gonna keep referring people that they know that have money, that want to make more money. So for me, that business is very easy to manage, rather than to go out and just hustle every day to go find new clients.
Love that. That's like secret information.
I like that. So for your revenue share for EXP, right? So you have around 300 people under you. Are you actually giving them like any educational information for them to stay with you, or are they just with you because?
A lot, yeah. We do a lot of educational event. We have we have group training as well, and you don't have to be the one who do everything, right? It's actually 5 the leader who built my organization. So I focus on leading those 5 people, right? And then the 5 people will provide value to their organization, right? And then they will have their 5 people. Yeah. So I would say focus on the 20% that will make 80% of your money. Yeah. You don't have the time to focus on 300 people, but you do have the time to focus on the 20% of the 300 that make you 80% of the money. Focus on that.
Love that. That's another secret.
Yeah, and then with the co-sponsor, right? You know, it's the floor is just open up first. Yeah, so I'm here. I'm looking forward to speaking to other agents. There's always opportunity for us to do business together. All right, good stuff. Thank you, guys.
We do finish up, and then if they want to go to happy hour, just go out the hall and to the left to the bar.
All right, now we're gonna have fun.